ready because I want to show you some details of, pieces that are actually here. And almost, every single piece of furniture here has some detail from historical references. There's furniture styles that have been around hundreds of years, and you will see exact, details from the carvings, from, the design. You will see in everything that you see here has some, historical reference. So we will talk a little bit about Ethan Allen first. And then I told you don't judge my PowerPoint slide. It was done really quick, but it has some fun, just comparisons of our current look of the design style compared to, what it looked like over 100 years ago. So I told you guys all a little bit about Jill, and we've been having the Las Positas classes come by the showroom here for a little while. And, when we talk about a job here, when you're thinking about being interior designers, there's such a wide range of things you can do with an interior design degree. And, you don't necessarily have to sell furniture. This is it's the fun part of it. A lot of people come on wanting to be designers and have fun and just design. And, you have to think of the selling part of it and the business, aspect side of it too. So, we are definitely interior designers. We go out to people's homes every week. We try to go on at least 2 to 4 house calls a week. And there's certain ways. Some people are better at getting into the home than others. You can't, hey, can I come to your house? You have to show your value and your confidence, to get them to invite you into your home, into their home. And it's very personal once you've been in the home. Because, here you could sell them a table or a bed or whatever they ask for. I want to buy a sofa, you sell them a sofa. And, you've done a good job. But you want to expand on that and be an interior designer and ask, well, tell me about the room the sofa's going in. And ask more questions and figure out, talk about the traffic patterns, talk about the balance in the room, what pieces are staying, talk about a lighting plan. So it's important for us to just kind of learn how to be invited, into the home. And so once you've gone into somebody's home, that relationship is forever. I have clients I went to their homes 20 years ago, and they have me back in. I've gone to 2 homes in the last couple months that I did 17 years ago, and they haven't touched it. It's the same that I did 17 years ago. So it's neat to go back in and get to redo it now. But it's that long-term connection. I send them an anniversary card, or a little note every year. Can you believe it's been 10 years, So it's just those little connections that you make. Once you've been in their home, it's so personal. And, you're in their bedroom, in their kitchen, where their families are. And so they're, clients forever then. And so building that relationship is what's really important. And you have to enjoy what you do. If you don't, people will know. If they see that you're having fun and you love what you're doing, they trust you. They see that they're in good hands because you're passionate about what you're doing, and you know what you're talking about. So we feed off of each other here. We have 4 designers here, and it's a lot of fun. We help each other, we encourage, we back up. If you could tell somebody's having troubles with the design. No problem. We can help each other out and, just help give the client confidence and feeding off of each other. And, your energy is contagious, whatever it is, whether it's good or bad, it's contagious. Thank you so much. So, there was a saying once about, we're invested in each other. And it's not just a job. We're here for more than a job. You want to kind of be the difference, You can be the energy in a place. And it just takes one person to kind of mess up the whole energy, in a showroom or somewhere where you're trying to, do something very personal for people. So it's been a lot of fun working here. I've been here for a long time, and, doing what you love and showing passion for it will definitely expose you to new levels. You can do anything if you just show your passion I've seen people reach new levels that have come in, shy and unsure, and just once they get that, confidence, and expose them just to just having fun and enjoying and seeing what we do, then you can be very successful. So I think it's fun to come to work. You can design and create. You kind of run your own business. I can, book my home calls for when I want, and go out to people's homes. It's something different every day. You can, like we would work on home offices, we can do a dining room, we do bedrooms, living rooms, family rooms, so it's something different every day. It's not just the same thing. And we do 2Ds and 3Ds of the room. We can take a picture of the space and download it and do 3D walkthroughs and drop all of our own furniture into it, and do space plans, figure out traffic patterns, all the little things, well, to make it inviting to get in, we need at least 3 feet for our main traffic pattern in. We want 18 inches between the table and the sofa to make it easy to get in and around the space. So, just learning little things like that helps with every day. So basically we greet clients. We have to combine aesthetics with practical, considerations, of course, too. It's not like model homes. If you get to do model homes, it's a lot of fun. You can make it perfect, designed perfect. It's not always functional or livable, but it's a lot of, it's rewarding to be able to do what you want in each space. So when you're designing somebody's home, they don't pick everything, that you want. You come to photograph the home, and you're all excited, and they've got toys, and, so it's not like model home design is a lot different. So you have to consider all the different kind of angles of each job that you can do in design. And we can even do wallpaper and, flooring and all kinds of things like that to make it more fun. When you're taking the classes for being in interior design, there's so many things, that maybe aren't covered. I mean, talking about being good listeners. When you have clients, they say you listen 90% of the time and talk 10% of the time, which was amazing to me. And you've all had salespeople, that are just try to tell you everything that they know, but you've got to really focus on just asking good questions, and then focus on listening then. Being confident and inspiring, you have to be business minded. There's some, just follow-up skills, communication, things like that. So we're just definitely a client-centered culture, and try to develop meaningful connections with each client and figure out just how to connect with them personally, and just foster that trust with each person. So we talk about kind of putting your heart into every transaction, or mirroring the client. We do DESA, which we focus on different personalities that come in. So are they dominant? Are they expressive? Are they solid? Or are they analytical? And you want to mirror what they are. Even if I'm completely expressive, you've got to try to tone that down if you have a super analytical client that comes in, So how you ask questions and work with each one is very different. A solid could be very family oriented and what makes their family happy, An expressive is, oh, what's popular and hot and cool, and oh, I love this, and what they like and what they don't like. So just learning that with clients. And that's just kind of a summary of furniture, interior design and sales. But I get to go to clients' homes and measure, do lighting plans, and help with paint and area rugs and carpet, and it's a lot of fun. It is something different every day, definitely. So I have a few things put together, and we're going to do a little bit of a walk around, but it'll be hard with all of us, so bear with me. But I want to look at some specific designs before we do the PowerPoint. to get an idea of some cool things out there. And this is something really special that I found here a few years ago in a drawer. This is our treasury from 1971. And it is actual, furniture and rooms from the 70s. And you've all seen little parts of it into your lives from grandparents or parents. But it is a lot of fun to look through here. It's crazy how we designed some of our rooms. And I'll ask you to kind of look through here and tell me what you see the key differences are between this design in the 70s and today. But there is some really neat things. I'm going to show you some really specific pictures in here. And then some of the pieces in here from 1971 are still current furniture styles that I show today. But with very different fabrics or stains, some pared down a little bit. So you'll see a lot of the very same things in here, except for we didn't match our drapery patterns to the wallpaper. And I mean, they were all out shag. I mean, and I've heard of all the shag, but you would not believe the shag in the dining rooms. Oh my gosh, you don't know what food would be hiding in those shags in my home. I mean, thick shags in the whole house, carpet, and there's proof of it here. I like to think we're pretty stylish. We have a good dial in of what's hot and hip, and now, well, if in the 70s we had this figured out, I mean, this is, some really crazy room designs that were super stylish in the 70s. So this was expensive furniture in the 70s and good quality, but a lot of patterns and wallpaper patterns on patterns and, very adorned and just very busy. And I mean, the wallpaper alone is just all so dark, and so it'll be a lot of fun to look through here. I'll show you some specific photos before we walk through, but let's go try to take a little tour so we can look at some of the furniture styles, all right? Let's see where to start. We're going to start over this way. It'll be a little harder. Huh?
Yeah, I'll go like
me.
this.
Okay, all right, here we go. We'll see how we do. This room. This is a lot of leather motion furniture in there. That's all reclining right here. And so, as we come here,
Sorry.
everybody come on in. And so you'll see very traditional, wing chairs. They have a little bit of a more modern version of it here without the rolled arms. We have the square arm, a tapered leg, but you see the chinoiserie pattern on there. We're going to talk a little bit about the chinoiserie, where that originated. It's even, in carvings on wood furniture besides being on upholstery. So when we get back to our slides, we'll talk about when they started incorporating the chinoiserie and where that came from into the designs. And so as you look at beds, you'll see columns and posts that you'll notice from, historical, even architecture. You'll see the Charles of London arm, a pleated rolled Charles of London arm on the chairs. And then even there's a lot of historical references with hardware, with ring pulls, with a little cabriolet leg. And so as we walk around, when we look at this Paulson dining chair, over here, and so, this has a lot of historical references in it too. And they show it here. Here's a photo. So just look how different you can modernize it. It looks a little bit more traditional when we do it in the dark stain. So it's so crazy to think that's the same chair, but see how different we can make the chair look in the dark stain. So that's this dining set, but with the darker chair frame. And so it looks so different. And you can just kind of modernize it in the dark finish or do it in the lighter oak. And so it changes the whole look of it, you know, on one chair. And then we get to, this is called our Paulson dining chair, and it's kind of a Hollywood, probably Regency inspired, you know, might be something that you see with it. It's that transitional back, but we'll see a lot of Hollywood Regency that they just introduced, that I see that, you know, kind of inspiration in it. The cabinet here, is available in the darker stains also, and it's kind of like 1960s, I don't know, I see like a Park Avenue apartment, you know, in the 60s if you're looking at that. A lot of Art Deco inspirations in these, so I think it reads a lot of Art Deco. And then again, look how different it is, see my pretty picture, in a darker stain. And so that's the same cabinet, but we can give it a different feel. And it has a lot of, you know, less Art Deco, you know, depending on the stain that you do it in. You can change the look of it completely.
The room also makes it look very different too.
Right, yeah, with the dark background. Yeah.
Is that wood? Is that wood?
Yes.
Okay, no, wait, is it what, oak?
You can do it in oak or maple. It's solid oak. This one is all in solid oak, yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, and so you see the grain, it's a little more grainy, and so you'll notice the oak will be a little, have a lot more grain to it. And then, it's hard to see, but I mean, even like a little table behind us there, you see that little saber leg on it, the little curved leg you'll see historically in a ton of, even in chairs. You see that little same leg in a lot of dining chairs. The inset headboard and footboard on the bed that we had just gone by has that random matched, that olive ash burl veneer panels. And that came a lot from the neoclassical design. And so all of the, that bed is available with the fabric inlay, and you can also do it with the Mappa burl, like veneer inlays. And it's really pretty, and that makes it look a lot more neoclassical, and has those inspirations with those columns. And that's like an Indonesian mahogany. It has the short posts and olive ash veneers. So that is really pretty. When you see it with the fabric inset, it reminds me a lot of like a European design with the tapered posts. And you know, each post has that painted little gold toned collar detail, you know, that has a nice little design on it. So those are, those columns and those beds are a lot of neoclassical influences when you see those. Okay, we're going to go right around the corner over to a buffet over here.
I like the green on this one, instead of like cool effect.
Yeah, they do the starburst design on there, which we'll talk about. That starburst design is really neat. And 4-post beds are so traditional too. You know, of course, in the past, and I'll show it in the slides, they would, you know, put drapes around them, and you know, it would help keep them warm. And then it's traditionally 4-posts traditionally sit up a little bit higher off the ground, which was also on purpose so drafts could go through the room. And you know, the warmer air was higher up, so the beds are traditionally higher. All the 4-post beds that we see. Some people think they have to jump into their bed when they get it. And so then you see the beautiful starburst pattern on here with the inlay. There's a few kings that you know, loved this design and popularized it and spread it. But this starburst design we're going to talk about in our PowerPoint slides too, which is amazing, the labor and the work that goes into laying this out and to do this little mahogany, that Primavera inlay in it also. So really beautiful design.
But this also with the...
Yep, that starburst design. Kind of a little like retro 20s, you know, again, a lot of fun, that little Art Deco flair to it.
just did a design with that particular in mind.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And then here's a beautiful cabinet. I worked here 29 years ago, and we had this cabinet 29 years ago, and it was in just black and gold. And so here's the black and gold. See how different it is. And this is the chinoiserie.
Whoa.
And so see how different we can make a black and gold look compared to the taupe. And so it was always available in black and gold for us. And we did it in a lot of spaces. And then when you change it to the taupes and grays, it's just so amazing what a different feel. You know, you could almost put it into a little country home, you know, and do something completely different with it. So that's a lot of fun. The chinoiserie, it's a European decorative style, actually, and it's interpretations of Chinese and other East Asian artistic motifs to Western objects, even, you know, furniture and fabrics that we've seen it in. So it was more like probably the 17th and 18th centuries that it started really becoming, you know, popular. They're characterized it sometimes with themes like dragons or pagodas, I think is what like we have, and even like mythical creatures. Kind of the blue and white porcelain is what you traditionally saw it in. I think we'll still have some of those ginger jars or that have it. And so its origins are in, you know, mimicking imported goods. The style was imaginative European creation rather than like an accurate representation of East Asian art. So, you know, it was definitely originated in Europe in the 17th century. And so that is where it was often more associated, I think, with like a Rococo style even. It's been I think 30 years since I took my history of furniture class, but it's the same history, but it's hard to remember. But they have a lot of different revivals. Chinoiserie has seen several revivals throughout history, including in the 1920s and the 1930s, and it's still popular, obviously, in today's design. If you have a chance to look even through our fabrics, we have thousands of them, but you'll see that chinoiserie pattern that we saw in the other chair in tons of colors, you know, and other color palettes too of it. So they've definitely expanded. And then you'll notice like fretwork on the cabinets on the side, all the little fret design that they have on the cabinets, and columns in our legs on our coffee tables are, you know, mimics of Greek columns, and a lot of the legs.
That's right in front of me and I didn't even see it. That's
See? And then, so around the corner here, you see the trestle table. And trestle tables we've seen forever. This one is a rough sawn top, and this is a fixed top, but you can do it with a leaf also. So we did this rough sawn, you know, where it's really rustic. You can also do just a smooth maple on it too. These are available in like 30 different stains. But the trestle base, it dates back to like medieval Europe. And so they were practical. They were actually portable, kind of multifunctional. The two planks were made to where they could tear them down and move them, or so they could dine in a spot and move it aside for dancing. So it was like for functional. So they were common even in monasteries and castles. And, you know, they were eased to disassemble, actually, is how they started. And so you can find them in a wide range, but there's a lot of different types of the bases, you know, that you can change that will still be considered a trestle base. Some have a stretcher in between, was the traditional, you know, with a stretcher bar, but ours doesn't. But again, you can do it with or without a leaf and in different sizes. And then, I had a few more notes, like the cabinet over there with the starburst design that we were looking at. That it's called like star marquetry, which was really like 18th century France that we were just looking at. So they just introduced this cabinet, And all of that marquetry is just amazing. And that is what started just really ornate furniture when kind of Art Deco, which was French. So that look kind of first appeared in Paris in like 1900s, early 1900s. And it came to the U.S. and Europe probably not till like 1930s. But they also, that was like machine made objects now. And so that's when they introduced like chrome and like chrome plating. Is when they started doing that design too, stainless steel and even plastic. And so, and like the fan motif, you've seen the fan motif, what would be the most, like the Empire State Building, so you'll see that, I guess it's probably the most famous on the Empire State Building, but you'll see that fan motif in tons of furniture styles, and it's just, back to, France and Art Deco. So that is a lot of fun. Let's see. We talked about our arms. I think the rest of this is on the slides. We'll look at one little swivel chair over here really quick, and then I'll show you how different it can look when we get over there. And so here's a huge swivel chair. And so this one happens to be like 48 inches. It's available 42 or 36 also. And again, you can give it so many different looks. And we did this kind of Art Deco room and did it in a green velvet. And so see this chair in a green velvet, how it gives it a whole different feel. And so this is a room. You can give it a lot of different looks. And so you have to try to open up people's minds when they come through. And we have such a small showroom. And, they're like, oh, I'll know what I want when I see it. And then, to envision this in an Art Deco, ultra modern, it's hard to give them that vision. So you want to have, a little magazine or little pictures. Sometimes some things that look so different, I'll hide pictures under the seat cushions of it in another look, or another style, so I can show them, we can really make it look a lot different. But you put like a velvet on this, and it changes it, a lot. Velvets, of course, are also very historical. They've been around forever. I mean, velvets actually were silk. Velvets are silk. Which I didn't know for so long, because we have performance velvets, and they're 100% polyester, so it's not really a velvet, but just where velvets have come from, we can get that look and that sheen and that luxurious feeling, and still be family room friendly, so there's a lot of, benefits to that, indeed. So it was a little bit of a tour. Hopefully that helps. You'll notice, like, on the dining chair, see the dining chair backs, see the little turned legs on the chairs and the rosette on the top of it. You'll see a lot of dining chairs with the rosette motif and the fluted legs. And so you'll see these sort of historical references in everything. So those are fun. So we'll go ahead back and get comfortable and sit down, and I'll show you a few little, some fun PowerPoint slides. Isn't that cool? It's the Ming collection. It's available in like a taupe color and black. It's so pretty in black too. It's available single, double, tall.
Yeah, it's like the color.
Yeah, I love it.
Why don't you just wear like that?
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. With that rosette motif, yeah. Very classic design. See the velvet?
With the zebra pillow.
Uh-huh.
So, let's see, we have like textiles.
Uh-huh.
You project with different fabrics.
Oh,
Like
okay.
the golden version of that.
Oh,
It's a great
cool.
design, which is really funny.
See,
to
I
see
like
again.
it. That's cool.
It is to see it in a while.
All right. how the PowerPoint does. All right. Okay. So we talked about being the expert and just having the knowledge of your field and, you know, being trained and confident, knowing your product and all the different options. Somewhere here it's really important to know all the different options when you have a smaller showroom because there's so many options. So you want to know quick what you can, you know, show them. 3D, you know, how to pull it up in different looks. You know, using the vocabulary, you want to talk about the principles of design and the elements of design. You know, talk about design, about balance and rhythm and scale. You know, and just use that language so they see that, you know, why they need you, that you're thinking beyond just it looks pretty or, but when you review all of the different elements of design and all the principles of design, you won't believe how many people every day come in here wanting to, you know, match something. I need something to match. And we've learned that match is just such a bad word. We don't want to use the word match. We use a lot of real materials, you know, real wood. You can stain, you know, the same wood in different areas. It's going to soak up the stain differently and, you know, not make it soak it up and it's darker. You know, marbles, we know how different that can turn out. We have these little marble teardrops up front, and the client got them. Ours were kind of grayish white, and she ordered them and hated them. They were so white. Well, so I just swapped ours with hers. But, you know, they're going to come so different. They did look a lot different. But you just can't get it to match. And so... you know, just knowing your language and knowing what's out there. I remember the first time somebody came in here and asked me for a hassock. I was like, okay, how am I going to sell a hassock? I don't know what a hassock is, but we got to try to find what this hassock is, you know, and a hassock is another word for an ottoman, you know, or footrest, you know, so little different things that people will use language, you know, like a lazy Susan. I remember the first person that wanted a lazy Susan. I'm like, who is this lazy Susan? But, you know, just a little circular, you know, on your table to turn around. Or one of my clients came back in and he says, oh, I'm so excited. I want to do all the tchotchke now. And we'd done the room and he wants to do the tchotchke. And I'm like, oh, okay, tchotchke, you know, like how do I even spell it to look it up? You know, what are we going to do? And, you know, and I think it's like Yiddish for, you know, accessories or accents. It might be like an expensive way to do it, but, you know, they were excited about tchotchkes. And so, you know, just learning different little language and knowing, you know, what's a tchotchke? What are we really going to be doing here? But you know, looking at the different styles and knowing, you know, what to expect from each look is really important. So we'll go through this book here. So Ethan Allen was opened really in 1932. So it's been almost a century of, I guess, iconic elegance. In 1935, these two gentlemen bought like a bankrupt sawmill in Vermont. And so they were just a small housewares company. They sold gnomes even. So they bought that sawmill company in 1939. They debuted their first 28-piece line of like a colonial, obviously, style furniture. And so there was a son of Vermont, and he was an American war hero, and his name was Ethan Allen. And so that's where the name comes from. And today we are 75% made here and in North America. So we are still 75% made here. There's a lot of things like metal, iron, that is coming, not from here, that we get from overseas. So we're starting to notice small delays on some of those types of items to get here. So we're trying to focus on wood and things that we make here, you know, right now, and not getting people too excited about some other items that might not be made here, and then they're taking a long time to get. So we'll see. And so then in 1940, they just talk about making lines of furniture and furniture styles, groups of them. And then as they discontinue, making, you know, more lines that could still complement the old lines and blend with it, but, you know, be something different. And so then, of course, we get to a camelback sofa, which we've all seen, I'm sure. You know, so there's some very classic lines in here, but you know, with the curves, the camelback sofa we still have. It's on our current website. We sell it all the time still. And when you're looking at the camelback sofa, all of those, you know, the S curves. The camelback was a piece of furniture shaped like an S curve. So like Louis the 15th, right around Louis the 15th time, like commodes, they call, you know, the curved furniture, and 18th century English furniture. And so you see all of, you know, this was a traditional commode with the curve in it. And just kind of, you know, after architecture, we have all of the little subtle curves in our chairs. And then, you know, traditionally, if you put this in a damask, you know, this sofa, it's a lot more traditional, you know, in a pattern. And we still have a lot of damasks, which is the Tang Dynasty is where that became popular. You would see, as we look through here, this sofa in major patterns, huge prints, like large prints. And, you know, they weren't afraid of color or pattern. And so you will see they did camelback sofas with huge stripes and really large dark floral patterns. We're going to go through here and we'll find them. And I don't see it there. So, you know, you would see a lot more patterns. And even today, the East Coast is a lot more brave with doing patterned sofas. You know, they sell a lot more floral sofas and things than we do here in California. We're pretty into solid, textured, not as brave.
Why do you think that might be?
You know, I don't know. The Southerners they definitely adorn things more. You know, my in-laws are all there. They even put their initials. What is it, monogramming everything. You know, they initial things, lots of things. I don't know. They monogram lots of stuff. But, you know, a lot more traditional design, I guess. I mean, but they just like to adorn a lot more detail and carving. But California is definitely one of the most like minimalistic, you know, simple, clean lines, you know, not as adorned, not gathered, you know, pleated drapery and, you know, so it's different even from the East Coast to the West Coast. We've always argued that all the designers for Ethan Allen are all living on the East Coast and they don't think of us over here, you know. They'll discontinue. There's product that'll be doing so good here, but it doesn't do good in the whole country, you know, and they'll discontinue something and we're like, you know, come on, we liked it on this side. So they try to incorporate, you know, an East and a West Coast representative, but we are very different.
Do they study the area where they're going to?
They do, but, you know, even within the Bay Area, our demographics from here to Corte Madera, to San Jose, to Pleasant Hill are so different. So just even within us, you know, if we're proto, so we show the exact thing in every showroom. I worked for Bassett Furniture, and they're a private dealer, so they could focus more on, you know, every spot and how much, you know, what the rate of sales are for every room, and figure out that this sells so good in San Jose, but Pleasant Hill, you know, so they could tweak their proto and do something different for San Jose than Pleasant Hill. But Ethan Allen has this layout on every showroom in the country. You know, so they try to do a good balance of the world. And, you know, it's so weird to, you know, look at this table and see how different we can design just this one table. You know, it's gray, it looks like one look. I'll tell you, you can change the leg on it, but you don't realize how different, you know, that'll make it look. And so when we do, let's see if I can get out of here and back in. custom dining, you'll be surprised. This is the same table as that one. Oh, you can't see that. Oh, because I'm sharing. Okay, well, we'll go back to that after. So on here, I'll when I get the presentation over, I'll show you all the different ways you can make one table look. You won't be, you'll be surprised it's even the same table. We can make this traditional with a cabriolet leg and a smooth, cherry finish. And it's available different sizes. So, it's one table that you can do a lot of different ways. Let's see. So, here's all of our S-curves. And then still, even to this day, this is our current chair. We still sell this chair. We don't have it on the showroom floor right now, but we sell it a lot. People come in to add this to their current design. But this is from an Indonesian mahogany, and it is a current style. And so you see here a little more modern, look on it with the chandelier. But the ball and claw, as you see, they have the ball and claw foot, cabriolet legs with that acanthus leaf carving that you see all over in architecture and on furniture. You'll see the Chippendale, it kind of gets a facelift. It's this intricate, the Rococo carvings. They climb, the back rails on my computer, I can turn it around for you. And that Georgian, that shell and acanthus leaf on the top is kind of from that Georgian period. That acanthus leaf, that scrolling, and the fretwork that they have on this. The fretwork is all the cut out intricate pattern in the design there. Is the version from its traditional roots. That scalloped shell and acanthus leaf carving is just popular. You're going to see that on cabinets and everything. So like Chippendale was more 18th century English furniture. The 18th century cabinet maker is who Thomas Chippendale was, and he's obviously very famous, and he's who popularized it. The furniture style is known for just being really intricate and ornate, and it blends kind of a Gothic look, Rococo, Chinese elements, with features like the cabriolet leg, the ball and claw, and so you can also refer Chippendales, places named after the furniture style, like the Chippendale Golf Club in India. The male revenue, I didn't even see that that's on there. They talk about the Chippendales, the dancers, on my little paper here on my cheat note. I did not notice that was there.
Yeah, Chippendale.
Yeah, like, oh, Chippendales, woo. All right. Not characterized by graceful outline and ornamentation. And so, I know you've seen that ball and claw foot. We even had dining tables, that have it on the foot of the dining table, that ball and claw motif. And then you see the open splat. And the fretwork, which the two chairs they're sitting in are kind of a modern version of it without the fretwork, with the more closed splat on there. Oh, which might be our next slide. Oh, lovely slide. So, again, I did these so fast. And so see here, this splat on this chair. I realize my mouse doesn't show up there. And so you see that was really similar to the last picture with the fretwork. So it's this shape that we have here, but now we've got it into a little bit more modern splat. And so that chair is shown with a wood seat. It's here with a fabric seat with a stripe that almost gives it a little bit of a country look. And so they've taken a super traditional Chippendale chair, and we've got it in a little bit of a modern, almost country in the black, rustic and a striped seat. So it's very different. More square legs. gives a little more farmhouse. So it's just reimagined Chippendale splatback. And then this is maple or birch or oak. Depending on the stain you choose, you can change the type of wood. And then, you know, little chairs like this over here are Indonesian mahogany, and they have that tulip leaf motif that you've also seen in architecture. And it's more kind of Regency era too, that little tulip design. And so, I don't know, I was going to bring these chairs into you, but I don't know if you can each see in this room in the niche, the two chairs in the niches there. We have each of these chairs, the Windsor chairs, a square one and a rounded one, with a little modern updated profile. And so that's that classic fan back styling. You could do that curved back rail with just the spindle detailing. And then this is the first time they came out with that contoured wood seat. It was always flat wood seats. And so the Windsor dining chair is one of the first chairs where they actually contoured the seat to fit you a little bit more instead of just being a flat, hard, you know, wood surface. So it has the saddle-shaped seat. It has the turned legs, the back spindles, and it's a historic design originated in England around 1720, and then it was, of course, adapted into America. And so these are current pictures on our website of the chair and a little more modern. Our clients can take pictures of what they did with the chair and put it on the website, and so this is somebody that took a picture that is actually current, that looks a little more traditional with it. Then here's some other older versions that you'll probably recognize. So here's the older versions of it. So the English origin, early 1700s. It was originally for outdoor seating, they say. So in the 1720s is when it came to America. It was modified by colonial craftsmen. And as you flip through this book from 1971, you'll see it all over in this book, those exact chairs. And so there was different regions, you know, in England and America that developed their own, you know, style of the chairs. So they modified the design to the styles that we see today. And so this one's called just the bowback Windsor chair. And it's renowned for its durability, timeless design. It's a very solid chair, made in Pennsylvania. And it's just kind of the best of American craftsmanship. And then the fan back Windsor chair is a perfect fit for the early American dining rooms. And so here's the Declaration of Independence, or this is them signing it, and you'll see first our Windsor chair here, and then our Chippendale chair there. So they obviously mixed styles in one room, but you know, timeless look, and you know that look is exactly how it is today with that back splat and our curved with spindles. You know, so it's just really cool that, and you'll see it 1971 in here, and still a classic. There's Swedish influenced chairs that you see here, bring a classic and contemporary design. And this has the rosettes too, and the fluted legs. You'll see the little rosette detail on the top and the fluted legs. See the fluting in the legs there? And there's a few different versions. So see, again, it can look so different in a white compared to, you know, a wood stain. And I did not get this slide done exactly, but talking about the OG motif. You know, we've all seen that on a lot of buildings. The OG motif is a very famous historical design. And so we have it on our pedestals. This console table and dining tables, and we have an end table. And so it has that little OG or kind of reverse, OG motif on it, which is really cool. And so we just introduced this table actually in about 30 different stains, so you can do a lot of neat stuff on it. And then the 18th century, the style first appeared, our break front design, that you see here in this cabinet more traditionally. The center part kind of protrudes from it. So that's more like a Regency style. The Regency is where the era we first saw that break front design. And Victorian era kind of reimagined it, of course, with more glazed doors or carved details at the bottom. And then this is today, you can't tell, but this is a little break front, a little more clean lines, simple. So they've definitely modernized it with a little cleaner detail. This has a little fluting on the legs, subtle detail, but just very clean and simple, but it just has that subtle break front. And again, that's available in a dark cherry stain or oak, maple. You can do a lot of different things with it. And so 4-post beds, here's a traditional 4-post beds. They sit higher. We talked about the draft from the 4-post beds. And they sit higher to avoid the cool drafts that were close to the ground. Typically, the higher the bed off the ground, the closer it would be to warmer air, they believed. And 4-post beds give an insight, into history to how they evolve. The practicality we mentioned was for cold, kind of drafty, like medieval homes. Tall posts were used to hang, tapestries or curtains, and that was more to provide warmth in the bed. And so now we have 4-post beds with the shorter posts, which you can't really, hang the tapestries from. So as they evolved, but they were higher mainly to escape the cold, and also to avoid like insects and rodents, and pests on the floors. So they wanted the bed up high. And it also served as a status symbol, just like tapestries, just like velvet. Velvets were for high-end, for kings, and, were only in very high-end wealthy residences. And then additionally, the space underneath was used like for storing chamber pots, so there were very functional, reasons to have that tall bed there. And so they're still around. And then we have like Duncan Fife cabinetry. Duncan Fife is somebody that I remember studying a lot of his designs on. A lot of Indonesian mahogany, hand-applied walnut veneers, which had really gorgeous, patterns that they could do also. And the satin gold geometric hardware. So there's just a lot of beautiful, the cathedral, walnut veneers on the bottom, on the body of it too. Metal ferrules and levelers. So you'll see the hardware design is very classic. Pulls that you see designed in the 18th century too. So even when you look around at chests, the hardware you'll see looks the same as a piece of furniture that you looked at from the 1800s. So it looks like the exact same hardware on it. You can still get the hardware. And so again, some neoclassical inspired details. You see the columns, the rosettes and motifs. A lot of neoclassical decorative details in there. Carved posts and the turned legs. And then a lot of golden, hand-leafed accents was very neoclassical. Here's another bed that they modernized, but again it has the fluted posts and the rosettes. So a lot of different looks with the same motifs in it. And then these were just made in Vermont. And we went over the beds over here. This was the bed over, you can do it with the fabric inset. And with the fabric inset, you could do leather or thousands of different fabrics. So I've done that bed with the chinoiserie fabric on it. And it's so beautiful. It's just a completely different look when you change, the fabric. Or you can do it instead of fabric. You can do the Mappa Burl veneers on it with that inlay. And that has a lot of historical reference doing those details in it. And then we have the fainting sofas. And so fainting sofas, it's kind of romanticized in the Victorian era, and, not completely true all the time, but they definitely romanticize the idea of the fainting sofa, where it came from and became popular in the Victorian era. They talked about them placing them at the top of stairs. And they're very dramatic about, the heat, and the corsets that they had to wear were so tight. So by the time they get to the top of the stairs, they needed to faint onto the sofa. So, they were placed in a lot of Victorian homes right at the top of the stairs for the ladies as they got to the top to take a rest, because they couldn't breathe. And so you see a lot of very traditional versions of it. And then this is new for us, and in a velvet. It's so cool. So a lot more modern without the tufting. We also have it, if you saw in the back, in the channeled leather, which this is the same one in a solid fabric. You don't have to do the channeling. So it's kind of cool. Modern version of our fainting sofa. And so they were, definitely got popular in the Victorian era. But they moved into the main rooms also. And they were, more comfortable for just sitting with the big dresses and, being able to lean, having one side up and one not. So, I think I skipped back to dining tables. I was doing my PowerPoint today here. We used to have this on the floor. This has great decorative inlays, but again, it's the classic, like, Sheridan styling. Unique pedestals. Those are those saber legs, very dramatic saber legs. And that has that Primavera, and mahogany swirl veneers. They do the slip matched inlay in it. And then it has a little nickel plated ferrules at the end of the feet, the ferrules. And so you'll see that with historical reference too, the ferrules that they did at the feet. Here's a little Hollywood Regency inspired table. It has the starburst pattern in it also, and the dual pedestals and the stainless steel. So, it's definitely that Hollywood Regency again. And then we saw our trestle-based tables in there. Trestle-based tables will be forever. And this is our inlaid table, round table, again neoclassical, with Indonesian mahogany. They have the cathedral, it's called a walnut random reverse veneers, that has the kind of starburst look in the top, which has been around for 100 years. They talk about the skilled craftsmanship just that went into that woodworking, and the cathedral walnut. And then, does anybody know the name of this popular style sofa from the 1700s? What kind of a sofa is this? Have you seen it? Anybody know the name of its style? Chesterfield. The Chesterfield sofa. This is our current sofa. We still have it. It is a current frame. Here it is in a little bit more modern room. They made it a little more traditional. You can do a lot of different looks of it. But the Chesterfield sofa was a lot of times traditionally done like in a dark leather, like in a men's smoking room or something. But the Chesterfield has been around for more than 100 years, and we are still doing it. I think I have a picture of it from the past. But it's from the mid 1700s. And it had, it was supposed to be where you could sit down and get comfort without wrinkling your clothes. So they made it kind of low and easy to sit on. So there was a gentleman, a renowned trendsetter, that became, that started designing the Chesterfield, Lord Philip Stanhope. And he designed it more like horsehair, inside. It wasn't as comfortable to sit on, but they started giving it, in the Victorian era is when they started putting like a real spring system in it. And, an actual foam in the cushions and not just the horsehair, so they made it a lot more comfortable. And the Chesterfield is still around today. And then we have a bergère chair. Have you guys heard of bergère chairs or studied the period for the bergère chairs yet? We call ours a Versailles chair. And again, it's Louis XV inspired. It has a lot of hand carving. And it originated in France during the 18th century, during the reign of Louis XV, and it became popular for its comfort and luxury. And this is a more traditional picture of a bergère. And again, with a chinoiserie pattern on it, actually. And then these are our current bergère chairs, one with a silver stain and one with the darker wood stain. And so those are our current chairs that are there today. And they're deep and comfortable, usually a lot of carving and ornate legs. And then we looked at our chinoiseries. And then this is just talking about the cabriolet leg from France during the 18th century. We'll see the cabriolet leg on our dining tables also. So I'm going to go to the website and show you a few different looks, and we're going to look at some fun things in here that we still have current today. What are your thoughts? Any questions on have you seen any of these pieces in your grandparents or parents' homes?
How do you pronounce the chair again?
Which one? The bergère.
Bergère.
Yeah. Yeah, Bergere, bergère. It's a bergère chair. And so it's 18th century France. Is when I guess bergère sounds like French, doesn't it? What is that?
Was the pattern chinoiserie? How do you spell that?
Chinoiserie. I know it's C-H. Let's see if I have it spelled anywhere here. Oh, let's go back to that slide. C-H-I-N-O-I-S-E-R-I-E. Chinoiserie. Where is it? Let's see. It's at the... There it is, at the top here, chinoiserie. And so it's that scenery. It's like a painted scenery. Yeah.
What was the one called? It's like, I think it was a table. I took a picture of it, and it had like the legs and it like.
Let me see your picture.
The legs like reminded me of like a bird's claw. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, okay, yeah, the ball and claw foot.
Yeah.
Let's see which one had the ball and claw. That ball and claw could be quite dramatic. It was on very heavy carved, and then we kind of moved into a more simplistic, clean lines.
It was this one. It's kind of blurry.
Oh yeah, the Duncan Fife kind of a look. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a Duncan Fife table with the ball and claw foot on it. And you will see we are going to get out of this, and I want to show you the custom dining. And so the dining set that you're looking at behind you there, this is the same exact table as that table. And so see how different, with just a different stain and a different leg it can look. And then even further, there's the same table, two-tone.
At what point is it just a different table?
It's the same
It's like-
table. It's the same piece of wood at the top, but I love it. At what point? That's a good question, Kevin. Very good question. But so if you see all of those different looks, where did that one picture go? Oh, these are all the same table.
When you use, let's say, mahogany, how is it? Is it just the top of it, and then do you use another kind of wood?
Yeah, a lot of our dining tables have a core material. If there's an extension in it, you cannot do solid wood dining tables and extend them because they expand and contract a little bit. So it is actually a more expensive construction story to do the core material. The wood is real. It is very thick layers, so it can be sanded and restained because it is real wood. But anything with large surface spaces, like a big headboard, that can't be big, solid wood. You can't, there's not a tree that, wide to do one, solid wood of it. So you will be able to see a solid wood dining table. You'll notice the grain will go from the top and down the edge. And there will be some usually, without extensions in them. But you'll notice the grain kind of carry down the edge, and then you'll know that it's wood all the way through. And so these do have layers,
That's probably just on the historical furniture. You probably don't see that anymore, but
Not a lot.
from a collectible point, and probably
If you go, Bassett has started making it's called Benchmade, and it's all solid wood. And it's made on the East Coast, and you will see a few of their tables, that you will notice the solid wood, design going, the grain going all the way down the edge of the table. So they are starting to do a design like that. Yes.
Were there earlier you can have pieces of solid wood?
Yes, there were a lot, but you couldn't make them. You couldn't, open and close. But they had troubles with.
At what point do you think you started changing that?
That is a good question. I know that, in the machine era, when they started machining things more, they started doing more, inlays and started doing decorative things, and then started noticing that some of those can last longer, or actually were more functional than the solid wood. So I'm not sure exactly what that time frame is, but definitely when they started, using more machines and industrialization. When is that period?
19 something.
Yeah.
19 something.
I love it. So, and then some different things that I see in here, which are really hard to find right now, are like armoires. I love my armoire. Big door chests, you don't see those anymore. And people come in and they want to add an armoire to their Georgian court collection. They got here 20 years ago, and there's just not any armoires. And I have clients that even if they want to sell their armoire, even the consignment stores aren't taking them at all. And I think they're beautiful, and practical and great storage, but it is so hard to find those armoires anymore. You just won't see them. And I think they'll come back though, because I look through here and remember all of the, beautiful styles of armoires. But when we look, through our dining chairs, you'll see here, these chairs. This is that Klismos look. If you, know some of the historical references, a little neoclassical, the splat back design, very colonial chairs. I mean, that chair, is in this book exactly like that. Little Swedish design, a little retro 20s. So, there's a lot of influences to, a little, is it Shelton or Hepplewhite? One would be more of the shield, but the rounded one is that.
Is that the one behind you?
Yes, but that has the cane back.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. But yeah, very similar. So a lot of chairs, but then one of them, look here, still with our traditional. This is a, you know, a current chair, and I look in here and the exact chair is in this book from 1971. And so there's a style, that Chippendale style, that'll carry on forever. And then here is a little updated with the splat, like what they're sitting in. So a lot of just really cool designs. And then we'll also see, I'm looking for one Georgian court chair here, that has all the same looks. You'll see this chair everywhere. If we, I don't know if you can come around a little bit. I wanted to show you guys some of the pictures in here. But you'll notice you've got to see some of this furniture at your families or grandparents' homes. You know, with the little, the Georgian court chair with the splat back. You'll notice in these pictures, oh, see the camelback sofas? So you saw how ours was in the solid, and so see how they did committed completely to blue floral with the blue floral rug. They probably even hung up some blue floral drapery to go with it. You know, so they're definitely, you know, adorn a lot more. And so we still have the same exact sofa and look, but we do it in velvets and a lot of solids. We're not as brave. Look at this room with the red drapery. This is real. This is our treasury and exact catalog of people's homes from the 70s. And all the shag. And then here, look at the striped camelback sofa. So we can make that just look ultra modern. And these chairs, if you go back to the far back, we have this exact chair without a skirt back there. But see how they did a lot of florals. See, this chair looks like the one right behind there that's it's the exact same look, but we did a tapered leg on it instead of the ball and claw and the shell motif. To me, this was just so much fun to go through. It's crazy. If you have a chance to come and look at some of these things. Again, this chair is, and we have that same look. And look at these dark walls. Do you see the wallpaper that they did? Like, wallpaper's coming back, but they put busy wallpaper. Very. And matched it. I mean, look at the shag. Ooh, they put a solid blue shag they've committed to in here. And we still have shag rugs. We just do them a little differently. And you know, china cabinets are coming back now. So for a long time, we just did the bases. And we couldn't do the tops of the china cabinets anymore. And so now they just introduced again for us the tops again, which just weren't around forever to do, you know, the hutches. And so now we just, a couple months ago, introduced another line where we can add the hutches to the top. Oh yeah, look at this little Windsor bench and see the bench that they're sitting on. We have the same bench. So that's still here. Same style chairs. Look at this gold shag. Just so cool. If you have a chance before you go to just come and peek through some of these. You know, they're just some really neat styles. It is really funny. And so I've seen, you know, little pieces of all of this in my life. You know, a piece from here or there from my parents' past has snuck into your house that they've kept or carried over. But when it's all together in one room, whew, it's quite a commitment. But yeah, they talk about all of the chairs here and the history of them in the back too. So anyway, it was just a lot of fun to find this book if any of you want to flip through it and see the use of wallpaper and shag carpet and matching drapery to the wallpaper and the sofas. I have yet in 29 years to put the same drapery matching the floral sofa on a wall. But it was definitely a look. So you never know. What's old is new. It could come back. So study this because it could be your next look. But anyway, any questions with all of that information? How's everybody doing?
Does Ethan Allen do wallpapers?
We do wallpaper.
Okay.
They have gorgeous wallpapers. You know, you'll see, I saw in all of the rooms that won the awards the last couple years, we have like, you can submit pictures of your rooms, you know, through the whole country to get awards for design excellence. And every winner had wallpaper. Every one, you know, did something dramatic. And like, look at this room in the back hall. It has this herringbone wallpaper, and look what a pop or difference the wallpaper in the back makes. See the herringbone in the back here? So just a lot more subtle. It's not floral to match the floral sofa, but just the difference that little herringbone
East Coast.
wallpaper could make. This is mainly all East
Yeah.
Coast, and this is Ethan Allen's roots is East Coast.
That's bold.
But see how pretty that is? And then the chinoiserie on the chair. And then you'll see a lot more use of wallpaper. Oh, here's the little porcelain jars. Oh, here's that same wallpaper, but behind the bed.
Is that a lighter color or is it the lighting?
What's that?
Is that the lighting or is it just the light a different color?
It comes in a lot of colorways.
It's
It
slightly
might just
darker.
be the lighting though.
Yeah, it looks slightly darker than the other one.
Yeah, they probably pulled the same wall into the photo. But it's pretty what wallpaper can do. You know, so we're definitely doing wallpaper again, but definitely pared down, except for there is a little wild wall. This is our current room. That's the busiest floral that I'd seen, but wallpaper's coming back. The other day I did a bathroom and we wallpapered the ceiling too. It was all her idea. But you know, we did floral, so there's definitely coming back some wallpaper.
Is that a purple chair?
What's that?
Is that chair purple?
Yes, purple velvet.
Oh my.
Purple velvet
It
chairs.
fits on the wall.
Yes. And you know, we definitely, when you're working with a client and you get a client that wants to design their room, you know, you want to go deep with each client, you know, and you want to talk about the wall, any little addition that you could do. If a client comes in here and says they want to buy a sofa and the designer sells them a sofa, like the average sale for the designer is $3,000. If you say, you know, try to get into their home and, you know, look at the room the sofa goes in, add a rug to it, add pillows to go with the rug they have, you see an adjacent room, you know, add a focal wall, some wallpaper, add a lighting plan, they don't have the proper lighting, you know, you grow your average ticket. And so instead of selling $3,000 to every person you meet, you sell $8,000 to every client that you meet. You know, so you meet the same amount of people as everybody else, but you go deeper. You want to ask about other rooms, you know, do you need a mattress? I mean, we even have mattresses, so, you know, why not if you sold a bed, just add a mattress to it really quick. If you have the designers here, like, I'm a designer, you know, I don't want to talk about mattresses, but, you know, there's anything that you can do to add on, you know, to your sale if you're in somebody's home. You know, if you don't have as many clients, you want to do as much as you can with the clients, you know, that, and you're doing them a disservice if you don't layer and, you know, offer the wallpaper and offer all of those, you know, fun details that really makes it, you know, their space, you know, that really individualizes it for them. So anyway, there's a lot of things you can do, but there are some uses of wallpaper in here that they are starting to do. And then look at this chair in the white that they're sitting in. So this was a very traditional chair, and now they've made that look a little bit beachy. And you see what they are sitting in with the oak and the stripe looks a little country. they freshened it up here, or you can do a cherry finish on it, and a damask seat and make it look really traditional. So you have to be able to look past the exact piece and think of how different, a different stain can, fit into a look that you're trying to do. I see a lot of painted rooms in here, but a lot of people are going back to white. I've painted the whole Bay Area's house in Spanish sand or wise owl or whatever in colors, and did accent walls, and now they're telling me we're going back to white. So they came and painted most of all of our walls back to white here. We had a lot of accent rooms and color walls, and now we're going back to crisp and white again. So do you know which white it is? This one is Dove white. I think it's is it Sherwin-Williams? No, it's Benjamin Moore. Is it? But yeah, it's a Dove white. So.
So wise owl, that's the color of my house.
Yeah.
It just came like that.
Yeah.
I didn't paint it.
Yeah, I have wise owl.
You know wise owl?
I have wise owl in my bathroom. Yes. But yeah, I think it's a classic, timeless.
Why do you think they're going back to white?
Is that Kelly Moore though, which is no more? Can you believe Kelly Moore is gone?
Kelly Moore.
Yeah. He's gone.
Why do you think they're going back to white when color drenching is becoming popular? It's becoming popular now.
Yeah, I don't know what the white is now. People are just trying to have more crisp, clean, open.
The color drenching, I've seen it all over lately.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like it's way too soon for them to backtrack so much.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, unless they're trying to really push it for that, so they sell white.
Yeah.
For generic audience. I don't know.
Just get everybody to paint again. I think the painting industry was going a little low, so they thought,
Yeah, they weren't alone.
let's pick up the painters' economy and go white again. So you never know. But yeah, you always want to keep up with the trends. Always get at least one or two magazines, so you can keep up with what the trends are and know what's out there and what people are doing. So I think it's a lot of fun to do for sure. There's so many different angles you can take though with design. So I know you guys all come from a lot of different areas, but there's a lot you can do. Any other questions at all?
Have a list.
Oh, okay.
Waiting- I'm
I love
waiting
it.
for
We could sit down too and go through your list if you want. I love it. Do you want to share your list with the class or?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. First one is, how do you grow your passion for interior design, from like wanting to just like decorate into like more like, because you said we need to have like that business mindset,
Right.
And we need to like be able to work with clients and like just all these different
Right.
aspects.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of it is just doing it, and different fields that you can work in while you're in school that you learn. You have to have a lot of it. I mean, you have to kind of inside of you have the love people, and like to work with people and interested in design. So a lot of it you just already have in you, wanting to take design classes and wanting to be interested in it. But you learn, I think you can get more passion by just studying it more in depth, by, just being very involved and knowing every angle of it. And I'm always looking around at other stores to see what they're doing, comparison shopping, looking through magazines and just keeping your mind open to all the ideas out there.
What magazines do you recommend?
I don't know right now. I'm struggling with my magazines right now. I am not happy with any of them. I'll have to get back to you and see. My friend Carrie just sent me a message of what she says are good. I just actually canceled like 2 months ago all of my subscriptions. I tell you should always have one. But I am looking into doing a couple more. So I'm tired of some of the same ones. But my friend, she sent me a list of a couple new ones. If I think of it, I'll get that to you guys. But she's a rep and reps furniture all over California, and said there's newer ones than the old ones that I all knew. She was making fun of my magazines, so I don't know if I want to tell you. I don't know if House Beautiful is it anymore. All right.
My other one is, how how much time do you usually have to like wow a client, or does it like vary? Because I know some people have that
Only a few seconds sometimes. I mean, they can decide on you pretty quick. You know, if how they feel about you. You know, if sometimes you could have too much energy or not enough, or not be interested enough, or be too interested. You know, so reading, knowing clients' personality styles. If a dominant comes in and you can see they're on a mission, you know, it's not time to be fluff it. No, it's so pretty and in style and hot. You know, they don't care. They want, you know, the facts.
Yeah.
So that's not, you know, an analytical client might want to know my construction story. You know, which we learn a lot about, but don't spew your construction story out to half the people out there. They don't want to hear it, you know. But an analytical will want to know what the insides are or what the frame construction is, you know. You know, so there's some people that want to know that it's hip and hot and in style, and some that just want to know that their family will love it. You know, so learning who they are by the questions they ask, by if they're darting, if they're, you know, direct, or are they, you know, more expressive. So just learning the customer and trying to mirror them quick and know how much, you know, I'll say I'm here to help you as much or little as you need, you know. So just let them roam. Sometimes some of them want to just have their own freedom to look around at first, and then they're more comfortable in a few minutes to open up to you more. What do you have, Kevin?
Would you say there's a type of client is more common than others?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of, oh gosh, I guess that's hard. No, I don't have as many like dominant clients, I guess, that come in and are just like straightforward. Maybe they send somebody in for them. But you know, you get a lot of expressives and not as many analyticals. You don't have to share the construction story to too many people. But definitely expressives and solids. Maybe I like them better. I don't know. That's a good question, though. You're getting close on yours. Number 3.
Okay. I'm like redoing the question.
Okay.
But one of them is, should you have a digital portfolio?
Absolutely, yes. I think that, you know, you don't want to see, I have a portfolio I pulled out. It's in the back that I did here 29 years ago. And it's crazy. But it was my first portfolio that I did literally 28 years ago here. And it's like big, you know, it's a case, you have to hold it. So, you know, definitely being able to show, there's House, H-O-U-Z-E, House Beautiful. You can put your projects and things on there. You know, I can go into my 3D designs and show quick, you know, 3D designs that I've done to show people, you know, what other people's homes looks like that we've done. So, yeah, you definitely want to show your work.
How much do you update your portfolio? And even then, how selective are you with what you actually show on there?
As often as you can. I don't get to update it that often because it's not often you get to do an entire room just perfect to be portfolio ready. You know, people come in and want to do a few things in the space, so it's not everybody that designs just this wonderful room ready to go into a magazine. You know, it sounds fun, and but a lot of people, you know, do a few things in the room. There's sometimes you get new construction and you can really build it from the start, but you know, I probably get once every 3 months, maybe even more, where you can do the whole, you know, entire look, to where it'd really be portfolio worthy. You know, otherwise it doesn't, you know, some houses you go to photograph and it's hard. You know, if it's, they live there, it's a real space, you know. So you don't always get it. Sometimes you have the other side of the bay has more, they call them dinks, dual income, no kids. So sometimes, you know, they'll do a little bit more of a designed, beautiful room just to entertain in and not to, you know, have kids grow up in. So it's different, but you never know.
Not specifics, but I don't know if you mind sharing, like, if you have a client come in and they do, say, wallpaper and custom bedding and furniture, how do you get paid?
Yeah, it's the designers are straight commission, and so you know you get a draw every week, but you know the draw I think think it's you only make like 65,000 on if you only do the draw. So you want to outsell the draw every month. If you don't outsell the draw, you might not work here after 90 days. You have, if you go 3 months in a row. But to make a living, you want to outsell the draw. And so everybody is commissioned. So there can be designers that work the same hours and make $80,000 a year. And I have another designer that puts in about the same that makes $105,000 a year. You know, so it's so different what you can make depending on how assertive you are. You know, how good you are at getting to know other trade members. So when people think of, you know, design, they think of you. You know, I go to kitchen and bath designers and tell them I could get them referrals, get their cards, and, you know, they design people's kitchens. Maybe they need counter stools after a kitchen table. Where do you send people after you've designed a beautiful kitchen for them? You know, so try to get them to think of you. So, you know, you want to go to chamber meetings or, you know, get into groups, you know, even at the Little League baseball games. I make sure everybody knows, you know, subtly where I am. And it works, you know, people will come to you for that or ask for your help. So you have to be good at networking, you know, and just asking for the sale. I didn't learn that for a while. You know, you think you just do all the right things and they're just going to want to buy it. You know, you have to ask for it. You know, it sounds like we made all the choices. Let's do this. You know, let's go ahead and, you know, get this started. Even if they're not ready, then you know where they are, where they're thinking, what their obstacles are, or what you have to overcome to get there. So it's a good question to ask, to just know where you are, how serious they are, you know, but when you learn to ask for it. Over 29 years, I can say in sales like this, I've definitely, I don't know another way to say it, but fired, you know, some amazing designers. They could design the heck out of a room, but they couldn't sell it. And they didn't want to do, you know, that part of it. So I've definitely fired more people that could design, like, you know, beautiful designs, but they don't want to, you know, market themselves, get to know trade members, you know, ask the assertive questions. You have to ask about budgets. You've got to get comfortable figuring out, you know, you could spin your wheels and show high grade fabrics, you know, that are a lot more than I could pick. You know, there's fabrics you can choose at the right range, or, you know, to get in with the right budget. So, it depends. There's a lot to it.
Would you recommend taking like a business marketing?
Yeah, I mean, selling skills. They don't even have, like, you know, selling skills, or but yeah, definitely knowing how to market yourself, you know, is very helpful. Like real estate agents are so good at marketing. You know, I try to watch what they do. You know, but just learning how to present yourself out there.
This is not even on my list.
Okay.
Do you necessarily like need a real estate agent in order to, like, I don't know, like start a career, have like a foundation, or is that not really needed? It's like a kind of like an add-on anyway.
To need a what? Like a degree in design, or to need a
Like really anything. Like, do you need like a real estate agent to like start your career, or like I don't know, like own a business, or
I mean, to own a business, you don't. You know, you just have to have money or a loan to start it, or you know, funding. But I'm not sure how to answer.
okay.
Are you asking like a partnership? Like, do you need a partnership?
Oh, to be
that
like a private designer.
that would help you
yeah.
get started?
Yeah,
Like
you
the kinds
generally you can get, you know, a license. You know, private designers will definitely. I mean, there's a lot of private designers that don't have educations that were just good at it. So it was, you know, a lot easier. There were a lot of people that could just open their own design business, and, you know, if you can get clients and they let you in to sell it. So, you know, you didn't actually need a degree, you know, or a license to be a designer. But I know there are a lot of private designers that that never formally got, you know, training. But I don't know if you can do that still now.
It probably helps to know people in the industry because
Yeah.
they will refer you.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
Yeah.
I have a great designer.
Right.
What are you thinking about? So
Right,
it's not a deal breaker, but it
right.
helps.
If you want to be successful.
Like, I just want to know how that would like help me.
Right.
Like would I just go up and be like, hey, I know this person and did this and that, and then, you know, or would it be
Right.
more like,
Probably help you.
yeah, okay, got it.
Yeah.
I actually have a question. So in the last 20 years, what is the biggest challenge you see in clientele? Like how different is, you know, now a
Compared?
clientele? Yeah.
Right. I mean, culturally, you know, clientele is different. You know, there's definitely, you have to learn different cultures, and, you know, a lot of, like learning Indian clientele right now, a lot, you know, are moving into our area, and just knowing they have, you know, a different, I love their family oriented. They always want to see like 10 to 12 people for every day, you know, or, you know, just learning, you know, different cultures and knowing how to design, and some like a lot more color or pattern, you know, and some cultures are a little more subtle, you know, so just learning, you know, different families and how they live and how they like to use a space, you know. We design, have to think of, you know, a prayer area, you know, for sunrooms, for different times of the day that we have to incorporate, you know, into that room. So, you know, there's definitely clientele changes, or the demographics change, you know, and you have different people that have different, you know, some like beige, you know, we do grayish. We can do everything's gray and beige, you know, and then some clients that will like a lot of color, or, you know, will be okay doing an orange sofa. You know, you don't get a lot, but it's so fun when you can get somebody that'll be more bold and, you know, do something fun. And but yeah, you don't always get to do all of the bold, fun things. They're always trying to be safe, and like we do on the showroom. Because when it's time to have to resell it, you know, if it's purple, it's going to be a lot harder to find a home for it. So, you know, we have to do a lot of beige or cream, because, you know, we have to change it out every year. So we can't get as crazy as, you know, they always want to, because they do have to resell it. So.
How do you see AI changing or influencing the
Oh, a lot.
industry?
I've had a few people come in lately and tell me they didn't need me. AI did their room for them, and I'm like, all right, well, good luck. You know, I guess you could order it online. But they do a good job. Mr. AI is actually a pretty good designer. So it's nice to have it open up their vision of what it can look like, you know, and what it can do. They do still actually need us, but no, the AI can definitely take a good picture of your wall and redo it for you really nicely. But then you can sell it to them.
It's probably going to be more important for designers to go into homes to see how clients live.
Yeah.
Because AI can't capture that.
Right.
They're not going to know.
Right,
Oh, I have
functionally.
to tell it that I eat in my living room.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
Or that I have
Right.
this chair that is
Or
sitting
that
there.
you have this company, we have this, you know, book
Exactly.
club every, you know, every other Wednesday
That's
we have a
right.
book club.
There's a website that calculates like robots take my job.com or something like that.
Uh-huh.
It'll tell you the percentage and the odds of a robot taking your job.
Oh, I like
It
it.
actually makes interior design pretty low because of how much socializing it requires.
Oh,
And how much
good.
You need to work with the
I
clients.
could have a few more years.
It's pretty good. I think it might replace some rendering aspects. I
Right.
do think it will never be able to match the full personality
Right.
of a client or the clients.
Yeah, it takes me like 3 hours to build my 3D design, you know, and then they'll come in and put their wall on it, and they're like, look what AI did. I'm like, I just spent 3 hours on that wall, all right, on that room, and putting it all together, but good job, all right. But yeah, if you could just, if what AI puts in there could be what we have. But yeah, it's kind of a nice, you know, it opens people's minds to wanting to buy more, you know, do more to their space for sure. So when they see what a dramatic difference it can make, then they're willing to invest, you know, in doing it.
Show us a sample of what
Oh,
you-
the 3Ds? Yeah, I was just
Yeah.
thinking if I signed in here, let's see.
I think in an hour and a have their own program too?
Yes, we do. And, let's see here. Mine, you have to go into this way. I could have been signed into it for you. We'll go this way. And so on the 3Ds, I don't really do a lot of the designs as much, but let's see. And so here's a little beach house that, and so when you build it, you can do 2D or 3D. And the 2D, whoa, keep the rug back there. The 2D, you know, you can show different ways. You know, we showed sofa love seat, 2 sofas facing each other, you know, different ways to lay it out. These are little ottomans tucked under a console. So there's different things you can do. But then when you go to the 3D, I don't have my mouse, so we'll see how we do here. You can walk through and see the space.
Wait, this looks just like Roblox.
So this is without my mouse. But you know, you can do a little walkthrough too of the whole house and walk around.
Is this somebody's house? Is this
Yeah,
somebody that-
it's in Huntington Beach, yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. And so that's their actual paint color, and we're talking about doing a little lighter actually. But yes,
Can
so
you-
there's
Can you
different,
incorporate their own personal items
Yes.
to the program? Okay.
yeah, and I can do their flooring and their paint color,
Okay.
you know, and all of their items.
How do you match it with something that's like really old? For example, like if they last be designed in the 70s, how do you match it to like a 70s floor?
Yeah,
What do
You-
How'd you match?
you get as close as you can,
Yeah.
yeah. Don't say that word. I told you that was a bad word in the beginning of this class.
It's pretty hard to like into the program. Like,
Yeah.
match with what you already have. in the
Yeah,
program.
sometimes they have like generic items that you can find something close. At least
similar.
if you can get the color or the weight of it,
Okay.
you know, so you can see the balance. So a lot of times you just have to find generic items to just try to get the balance correct, or the layout of it. Let's see here. It's a lot easier with the mouse. And you know, so this we can, you know, show different layouts. This is an ottoman in front, and that's their actual wood floors. I kind of got it without the mouse here. We'll see. So yeah. Oh, and I'm putting the window treatments on the windows. That window treatment's outside right now. So I still have to, you know, build the windows. And you can actually put different scenery, you know, in the back to show, and put artwork on the walls. But you can put shutters on the windows and everything. You can do the whole look. So it's kind of fun.
Is this available on the website?
No, you can do a little of the 2D. You can build a little bit of it on our website, but not completely.
Just, yeah. Oh,
Internal program.
Ethan,
Yeah, it's a license, yeah.
Very special program.
It's a license on there.
Yeah.
Similar stuff online though.
But you can do art. Like this one will show some artwork in there.
Would you like import that art elsewhere if they already
From the
have it?
website, yeah, you can. It's really neat that we have a cool program that will show. We can take a picture of your room, and then so if you take it from as far back as you can, then we can download it and we can drop area rugs into the space, and it'll put it under your coffee table, you know, so you can see different area rugs in your exact room. So that's a lot of fun. Or you can build it, you know, on here and drop different rugs in. Sorry if you're getting dizzy watching this. But you know, you can drop different rugs into the room. and see it with the light rug, with the geometric, you know, and so you can play and see all the different rug looks in one room. So it's fun. But yeah, you can take a picture of your exact room and then just drop rugs into it to see what you want to do. There's some cool technology out there. And then you can even take a picture with the iPhone and it'll make the 3D, build the 3D for you. That I'm practicing right now is new. So that will be a lot of fun. Any other questions?
Oh yeah. Sorry, you have me like reminiscing over here. About to play Roblox right now. What is your favorite furniture or design piece? It could be overall or in the store.
Gosh, I have no idea. I want that big round chair. I want that big, I wish it would fit in my room, that big huge round chair. I would love to get that, but I mean that chair, we just got it, but it's so like Pottery Barn. So yesterday I think, but we just got it, so I love it. It's a lot of fun, but I don't know. That's a good question. I want a lot of things. I talked to my lighting class about wanting chandeliers. One of the kids said she felt like she'd really made it once they got chandeliers, you know, into their house. But I would love to put a few chandeliers in my house right now. There's some beautiful ones that you can drop into family room settings and just make such a difference.
I've seen several chandeliers like some thrift stores or antique stores.
Yeah.
It's actually really nice.
Yeah. Yep. They have some really cool ones. You can update them with a different shade or take the shade off. Or yeah. Any other thoughts?
Yes. Is it is it best to like market a special thank you, special I don't know why I couldn't pronounce that.
Like a specialty?
Yeah, specialty, thank you. Or should we have like a wide range?
Like say
Or
that
like
you
a
focus
picture
on a
of
certain kind of design?
Yeah, like if for example if I specialize in like just dining rooms or like just like a Rococo like time period, would I market that or would I like
You could say with special. I don't think you'd want to give a specific because everybody's different. There's like we've made up 90 other different looks, you know, casual elegance, or you know, there's just so many different twists of styles that we've made up that if you were to focus on one, they might pass over right away, not knowing if you could do their look, you know. Because you want to know, you know, French provincial, you know, you want to be able to do a lot of looks, you know, and it would be hard to get enough business and just focus on dining rooms. You really have to open up, you know, what you want to be the expert on, because there's, you know, not a ton. It's hard to just only get dining room clients.
Right.
You'd really be limiting yourself.
I should sell dining tables for a living.
Yes, they're pretty. Anything else, you guys? I can let everybody get running, and if you have any other little questions, we can sit and I can go through your questions too if you would like. Anything else? Maybe I'll see some of you in a lighting class next August. I got some feedback from my other students, so the test might be harder. I found out some things. No, I think we'll work on that lighting class a little, but thank you guys so much.
Thank you.